Hey guys, it's Dr. Nikosi Darnell, owner of Clearview Speech and Consulting Services, also known as the CCC-SLP. I'm so excited to see you here today for part 2 of our series on fostering communication through joint attention skills. Now, if you didn't see my prior video on joint attention skills, go back and take a look at it. It just gives you a brief overview of what those skills look like. I'm going to do a brief little overview today just so that it kind of gets you caught up, just so you'll understand what we're talking about in this specific video. Now, when we talk about joint attention, we're really looking at the foundational structure behind children developing healthy communication skills. Communication skills do not develop without joint attention. It's where the connection is established between two people as they both realize that they're focused in on the same thing and that they have a shared interest, whether it's in an object, an event, people, some type of concept, okay? So it could be you as a parent and a child having a shared reading opportunity where you're both looking at a book and you're both very interested in it. Now, when we're looking at identifying joint attention, I know for you as a parent, it might be difficult for you to identify this because you don't see this day in and day out in practice. So what we're looking for when we look at joint attention is looking for a child to have good eye gaze, for instance. Are they looking at a shared object? So if you brought, a toy out for your child, for instance, and it's his or her favorite toy, are you both paying attention to it, or is their gaze diverted elsewhere on a frequent pattern? And what about the different sounds? Are they making different sounds to try to get your attention, like for mommy, even if they can't say words yet? Are they trying to get your attention? Are they pointing at objects and trying to get you to pay attention? So maybe they can't talk yet, but they might be able to point at something to get you to look at it. And then are they giving you verbal prompts like, hey, look at that, or, Bobby, for whenever they're talking about their Barbie doll? Can they even say a modified word of that? Now, what you as a parent can do to encourage joint attention, you can do a series of steps. I'm going to give you 3 in this specific video that we're watching, but there are 3 additional ones that I'll give you in the subsequent video. These are some skills that I want you to practice during the interim with your child. So you're wanting to actually copy what your child is doing, whether they're like stacking blocks, lining up cars, jumping up and down, spinning around. You actually want to go and imitate them, right? So you're doing some parallel play in a way. You're playing alongside them, okay? Now, different pointers for this is that you're going to start quietly, okay? You're not going to draw a lot of attention to yourself. You're just going to play alongside them, all right? And you're going to enjoy spending that time with them and what they're doing. You're going to be smiling. You're just going to be copying them, okay? No pressure on them at this point. We're going to put the pressure on later. Now, you want to, though, over time, begin to draw a little bit more attention to yourself, right? And you're going to reinforce their looking at you with things like hugs, kisses, high fives, smiling at them, for instance. And so if they start to pay attention to you playing alongside them, just kind of give them a smile and then keep on going. And then you're going to start to comment on what they are doing. So if they're playing with a toy truck, for instance, you're going to make a comment like, oh, I see you're playing with the truck. And a lot of times I'll limit my words even to make them very short and concise because I don't want to give them too much at one time. So that's the first step. You're going to copy what they are doing. The next step is that you really want to focus on what motivates them, okay? You're looking for reinforcers at this time. You got to find out what they love, right? And then you're going to use that as leverage to get them to start communicating more expressively with you. So first, what you'll want to do to find out what toys are very reinforcing to them is a reinforcer probe. And that's just to discover what their favorite toys are. It could be an object. It could even be food, for instance. I've worked with a lot of children who are highly motivated by food and they have a favorite food. And so you're going to figure this out by showing them different sets of items, okay? So like say for instance, if you have like a stuffed teddy bear and then a toy truck, you're going to show them both of those items and see which one they prefer. Which one do they point to? Which one do they want the most? And then once you figure that out, you set the preferred item and then the less preferred item aside, okay? And then you get another toy, right? Another set of 2 toys, and then you see which ones they prefer, and you go through that cycle again. Now, once you have all of the preferred items, you could even narrow it down even more if you wanted to, and see what they prefer out of the preferred items by following that same process. But by the end of it, you should have a box of their favorite objects, toys, foods, whatever it might be. And then you're going to set that aside, okay? Because we need some leverage, right? We need something on our side that's going to really motivate them, right? And these are going to be items that they do not receive or play with or eat on a daily basis, all right? We're going to keep it separated. Now, the third step that I want you to do is reinforce proximity. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to make them miss those toys or those objects that we set aside as their preferred items, right? We're going to limit their access to them, right, for a few days. And then later on, we're going to pull out that box of preferred items and set it in an unreachable place. That's like my favorite go-to, is making it a little unreachable for them. Then you're going to select one item from the box and you're going to hold it where your child can see it. So if it's like a toy that makes noise, for instance, which is fabulous, you can like hold it up, play with it, you know, set it off so it makes the sounds that are associated with it to get their attention. Now, whenever you get their attention, you're going to see that they're looking at it and you're going to be a little distance away from them. You're going to see if they come toward you because that's what you want. And whenever they come close, you're going to say the name of the object like, oh, ball, right? If it's just the ball, or you can say, oh, you see my ball, right? You can do it in a short little phrase and you're going to hand it to him or her for a few minutes, okay? So they can play with it for a few minutes. And after a little while, you're going to go back and you're going to say, my turn, and take the item back from the child and then walk a few steps away. Okay, and then you're going to play with it a little bit longer. And then what you're wanting is for the child to come close again. And once they come close with it, you're going to reinforce them by giving them the toy and you're going to follow the same routine, okay? Now, these are the steps that I want you to use right now, but over time, we are going to increase our demands on the child, right? So you're always like kind of setting the bar a little higher, right? And so once they're building on those skills, they're improving. And we've got to challenge them, okay? They need a little bit of challenging to help them move forward in being able to communicate in an expressive way and to begin to talk, right? And one thing I didn't tell you, if your child is babbling, for instance, you know, and we're back in that imitation phase where you're doing exactly what they're doing, I will actually imitate that babbling. And then if they start to look at me during that time, then I reinforce that. Okay, so it's the same difference. Now, these are all the steps I want to share with you for today. I want you to implement them over the next week or two and start to get that into your routine to where you're comfortable doing that. And we're going to build on that schema. Now, if you want to learn more and just see different tips that I have addressing like learning and child development, as well as how you can integrate technology effectively into your daily routines in a way that's within best practices for your child, follow me on YouTube under CCC-SLP. And next time we talk, we're going to talk about more activities to enhance joint attention, the 3 additional steps that I did not touch on today that you can do with your child to establish joint attention. Eventually, we're going to look at the average of communication norms for both boys and girls, characteristics of speech and language disorders, how play influences communication, and then different types of play and how that relates to learning. Okay, I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, take care and God bless.